Yeah, it's pretty wild that we got the gap fill from last night's drop down. Pivot is basically the gap fill. Another 10 points to go. Hanging out at the gamma trough line. And Q's are already rejecting. On 30. I have to try a short. So NQ already hit its naked POC. A long IC here, a long iron condor. The long iron condor, whoever's playing this is expecting a breakout. But I don't think we're going to break out today. I want to see a rejection of a gap. And if we reject the gap, we get a gap fill. Oh man, we already have some SMT divergence. NQ's pulling back. YM is trying to push up a little bit more here. YM's already gap filled. NQ's already gap filled, but ES has not gap filled yet. That's interesting. but I want to see a rejection around 71.24 SPX, which is about 8 more points up from here. So about 61.60, 71.60. Definitely try it. It'll be worth a shot. This might be it. This SMT holds. Be interesting for potential short. SMT is holding. Guess we're not going to get the SPX gap fill or the ES gap fill. We got it on NQ and YM, which is... Oh, hey, Koshik. We are going to leave the gap fill. Yeah, I was looking for potential gap fill, which on SPX kind of was almost there, about 5 points away. And it looks like we've got an SMT as a top here between ES and NQ. And after that potential gap fill, I wanted to see it run down towards, well, from the gap fill, let's say about 20, 30 points, about 70, 90 on SPX. So I think that would be roughly the PO, or I guess where the POC previously was, which is not there anymore. Yeah, this position here is providing a cap on the market, but this position here would be like a massive cap on it. This is why we're getting a lot of this ranging action here. Between 71.10 and 71.15. Hovering around the gamma trough on a daily. Intraday, it looks like the gamma trough is roughly there too, so. I just find it odd that we'll just leave the gap a few points away. I mean, and ES has, I would say, decent gap fill at around 7160, 7164. We're just shy of that. NQ hit its naked POC from the previous session, and so did YM. VIX gapped up overnight from the 1750 area, popped up all the way to about 20. Now we're sitting around 19. So post OpEx and we get an immediate reaction like that. That's always fun. And we got a massive, like pretty decent gap down too, overnight. But that bad boy filled. It's funny because I was like talking to a friend of mine and was jokingly saying, hey, we're probably going to gap fill. But lo and behold, we filled right around market open, almost right around market open, almost gap filled anyways. Yeah, the naked POC play, I normally like those plays. And NQ would have given about 70 points off of that. If you just played it naked POC from Friday, it touched, and you play it right back down to value area high. Given about 70 points. Pretty wild. Even a few M and Qs would have been really nice. ES is not quite there yet. I think the naked POC is around 61.64ish, 61.65. Oh, the straddle, give me one sec here. When I measured it, it was around 32. That was prior to market open. It is still currently 32. So I would carry a straddle of about 33 points. And let's see where we opened. I assumed we were going to be open around 71.10. Nope. I'm going to have to adjust my levels here. It looked like we opened around 71.16. So that straddle carries us about 30 some odd points. I carry about 30 points to about 71.46. And 8.6 just for ease. 70.86. Adjusted about 6 points from what I had previously drawn, because I was thinking we would open around 71.10ish, since the straddle would actually put us in very where the straddle would have had a lot of confluence. Still pretty close though. Actually, if I carry 33, it would be slightly above the highs of Friday. And it would be closest to the centroid. Alma centroid is around 70.82. and it's anticipated to be sticky between 70.60 and 70.65 and 70.90 should we get down there. 71.24 is the upside pivot, and that pivot should be reversionist. So yeah, wait, 99 pitting, but the pivot is a high probability reversion line after 1 p.m, potentially down to the centroid. Yeah, that seems pretty good. The entering the gamma breakdown by strike and charm charts here onto Claude, and the read was mostly range bound for the most part and very pin friendly. The base case that Claude picked up is oscillation between 71.10 and 71.40, which is basically that long IC position. So someone is betting on a breakout between a breakout from that 70.35 to 71.10 on SPX. So either break out or break down, and that's their bet. About 4,000 to 5,000 positions around there. The bull case spot breaks above 71.40 and then enters the 71.70, 71.80 green peak. Bear case spot breaks 7100, falls into deep positive gamma below. We're seeing that, but oh, I see, towards that 70.80, that sticky zone that Alma had touched on. Yeah, Alma's prediction on the weekly was Monday would be pressure to the downside, which we essentially got overnight. And then Tuesday, the downside supported. Path of least resistance is upwards. Wednesday, pressure from upside is on, downside support is shaky. And the centroid, which is the weekly centroid, is around 7,009 SPX. Path of least resistance back down is on Wednesday. Well, the vol moves will be capped drastically until this day. It looks like a wide range bound. Yeah, and it sounds like she's expecting the week to end up pretty flat for the most part, within the range. Yeah, straddle's sitting at about 30 points right now. I got an email from OptionsDepth, and they'll be rolling out the 1 minute interval charts. So we'll get an update every minute, which is great, as opposed to the 5 minute interval updates that we've been getting. Oh, sorry, 10 minutes. We've been getting 10-minute interval charts. I like to see a pop up and then down, and generally avoiding this negative gamma pocket. For all I know, it ends up being a trend day. So I'll be watching, and if I take a shot, it'll be risk defined as always. I don't think there's any news today either. At 10, yeah, there's no news. I think the only news that we have to worry about is any headlines that might come out for the Iran war and any deals being discussed. There's a lot of mixed news that came out during the weekend, and it was very mixed in a sense that you couldn't really figure out what was happening. Like Trump would say one thing, and then some Iranian official would say another, and then a Pakistani official would say something else. There is the gap fill. XPX still has about 3 more points to go, but this is close enough for a gap fill, I think. So I'm just gonna watch on what might happen here. We are entering. So one of the things on Alma's weekly shit she mentions is we're entering her almost like second phase of the war, in a sense where, sorry, not second phase of the war, but second phase of where economic news ends up being, I guess, working against the US in a sense. She's been posting about it, and she's been talking about, hey, April, after April OPEX and into May, we could see some weakness for the most part. I think she likes run back down towards 6,900, around there, and potentially buying up from there for like a summer. After that, it would be like a summer lull. Initially, she was thinking we would get a retest lower, but the magnitude of the move surprised her along with everyone else. And it seems that right now she's saying around 6,900 would be pretty supportive, or when she might take a shot long again. Yeah, that would be an Alma. That would be an Alma level. 6,900 over the next maybe 2-3 weeks or so. She was thinking April to May, end of April to May, and into May, including May, would be like a general weakness point. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Give me 1 sec. So if I kind of zoom out a little, you can see our weekly centroids down here. Just so you can get a general idea. And then I'll zoom in again. There's 2 centroids, just mainly because there's like it's quite sticky in this area. So she was saying that we could have some, there's 2 levels to kind of watch out for where the market could find some balance. Keep in mind the orange is a daily and then purple is weekly. I was thinking of potential gap fill up, and then a run down towards that straddle low around here. That would be ideal. I think it doesn't look like it's going to hit that naked POC from Friday. was hoping that it would just run up and hit the naked POC almost like a wick, and then move down towards that 70, 90, and potentially as deep as the centroid. I'm using Alma as kind of like the main part of my game plan. Oftentimes when there is a gap, I like a run up to the gap, fill the gap, and then look for some sort of candle formation, or even take a blind short, depending on the situation. So the fact that, I guess, Alma's game plan, or not Alma's game plan, but Alma's levels suggest that we might get some sort of reversion here, and the centroid's down here. It kind of works well with how I would normally like to trade this situation, or this scenario. Gap fill, reject, down. But so far, it's been pretty grindy, and it's been very grindy in between that, long iron condor. So you got someone who is long put spread, and then they're long call spread, which means they're betting on upside or downside. So it's essentially like that straddle, but because the strike is not the same, it's a strangle. Except a strangle would normally be a single option position, like long calls and long puts, and would have similar premiums. For this one, it's long call spread, so it's expressed in a call spread, and this one is a long put spread. So it just lightens the risk a little. Yeah, I think for the most part it lightens the risk. $145, let me see. Oh, you mean like off VWAP? Yes. Or sorry, that was the low of 145. It was the VWAP at the time. I suppose VWAP has changed, and it's at 71.33 now. But what do you see there at you mean it's just kind of like a swing low intraday? Or do you see orders there? toward at 71, 73, yes. $70, $98. Ooh, $70.98 is way down there. Interesting. $70.73. Oh yeah, that would be nice. I kind of want to just see that naked POC from Friday on ES hit. So I think it's around 71.65-ish, 64, 65. I don't think we're going to get it. It just looks like it's going to turn over. Maybe. Yeah, I think that was the best that we were going to get in terms of a gap fill. Thought we would go slightly higher just to kind of push people out. Make everyone second guess the gap fill. Volatility, VIX was interesting too to watch because it hit the new low a day on VIX and we wicked, and that was the same candle as the 955 candle, and we still have SMT between ES and NQ. Things been slow though. In orders today, interesting. Let me see if I can get a bookmap thing up when I see this. Just to see some level 2 data. A lot of resting orders at around 71.60. 71.64 maybe. And 71.66. Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Understood. What does GackSpot say or where zero gamma is, and if we're in positive or negative currently? Man, it's sticky here. This is wild. Or not wild. This is extremely boring. I also looked up Vanna a little um, and checked out a few of the OptionsDepth videos on Vanna. And this is basically what I gather from it. Oh, I'll show you a screenshot here of a table. So in positive Vanna, one sec. Maybe I should show you a chart of Vanna first. See where we're at. We're negative Vanna. Intraday, we're negative. And daily, we're also negative. And so if we're in negative gamma, or negative Vanna, sorry, delta and IV move inversely. So when IV rises, and currently right now it looks like we are getting an uptick in vol. The hedging response is to buy the underlying. And it's funny because if you end up, like normally when IV rises, the market should go down in theory, right? But if the market doesn't go down, or well, if the market tries to go down, the dealer hedging response is to buy it back up. I think this is the reason why, like, Vanna is so hard to kind of grasp, or not hard to grasp, but it's not just price and time. It's also volatility related and inverse based on the negative Vanna that we're currently in. But Vanna, again, is not the only source of dealer hedging flows. I mean, you still got the gamma, which is pretty light today, I would say. Light and positive. And then charm, also the same. So there's like a net response that you can get from all this once you intertwine everything. Oh, nice. Okay, just saw your Discord. So we're hovering right around 0 gamma for the most part. Slightly edge for positive. It's slightly positive gamma. Okay. And this is extremely slow. I don't think I can take a trade either. Yeah, even Alma noted that all in all, no clear bias, but we have a lot of opportunities today. I wouldn't use options here at all, only for selling premium. Maybe, but not betting on momentum. Wait for levels, watch the dealer flow, spot out 1 or 2 movements at max, and wait for it like a sniper. And when it gives that, pull the trigger and run. No, nothing. Just grinding between these two long IC levels. Grinding above the lower IC or lower foot spread levels, but haven't really touched the upper level yet. Interesting April 24th position here. $70.45, $70.40. Customers short put. And customers long put. So they're betting on downside. Customers long put here. Customers short put. Yeah, they're betting on downside. Green below. Oh, actually, are they collecting premium? Yeah, because they went further out. Further out. 70, 40. There's just not much happening here. Holy smokes. Customers long put spread. They're betting on downside into April 24th. So by this Friday. It's interesting. VIX is still ticking up slightly. SMT seems to be holding reasonably. Between ES and NQ. Really want to see us move under this 7110. In order to see some downside. This is just chop. Hey, Koshik, do you still watch Doc in the morning? Doc McGraw? Do you find that he helps you form a bias for the day? Like, do you use any of his, or do you find any tangible uses for his analysis in the morning? Yes, like for just watching him, how people trade options and on what basis. No use for me yet. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I find that Doc gives us so much information that I almost don't know what to do with it. Like, I found it overwhelming at the very like back when I first subscribed to vol signals, and he used to I think he just offers like free analysis or free levels that he throws in on Twitter, and he just copy pastes across the various discords he's subscribed to. But yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. It's very lengthy read on those tweets. Actually, haven't even attempted to copy paste that into AI yet. But generally, he does provide good information. He just provides a lot of information. So with vol signals, like at the time I was trying to learn vol signals and how he, as a market maker, views price action intraday. And I found that he was more concentrated on the dealer hedging flows and the reactions. But obviously that's not the only game it's not the only game being played, right? And it's not the only flow. So once I kind of learned enough from vol signals, I was trying to move on, and that's kind of how I found Alma. And Alma, she offers this the heck did she call it? She called it something very specific. Let me see if I can find. She calls it an implied probability distribution. So she puts together basically all the Greeks that she's able to calculate, and she models based on her own calcs. And she puts that all together, and it includes dealer hedging flows too. She puts it all together and she calls it the implied probability distribution. So which is how she kind of comes up with like where the market might go, where it's supportive and things like that. And I find that vol signals, because he's only gamma charm and Vanna, sometimes he's missing something. But overall, it's pretty good. But there are times when the market maker dealer hedging flows don't really work, I find. And then I found that through Alma's research, or Alma's posts, she notes when it may not be very useful. Like she tries to point it out, like, hey, today, based on an intraday note, like dealer hedging flows, don't lean too heavily on the options depth data and the positioning data, because it's not going to be very accurate because there's other flows that are driving the market. Pete Hegseth? I had to look him up. Kind of does look like him. Holy smokes. Doppelganger. I do remember trying to follow Doc a little, and I had a hard time doing it because there's so much information. And I thought he would help conglomerate the data and kind of spit out something that's more concise. But it was very hard. I got to give his videos a shot a bit more and kind of see where we end up there. Or see if I can interpret anything there, because he does it with like 2 or 3 other guys, right? Thing's trying to push down. It's just very slow. Right to the daily. They're messing around with like NinjaTrader's order flow indicators, and just kind of threw some on for the heck of having them, because I don't know if I use them. Oh, no worries. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, Koshik. Pretty uneventful day, so good time to step away from the charts. Looks like I bounced right off of 7140, which was where it was a low volume node, while also having orders there on level 2 data based on bookmap. It's interesting. I kind of want to see us run down towards the straddle low, so another 15 points or so. One, not gonna get it. Downside, okay. Into 7110, just 7090 holds. We wanted to see a rundown towards 7,100 or lower. Another 15 points from here. I guess that would take us to 70.90. Very wonky price action though. But it makes sense to some degree based on how I view markets anyways. Whenever like seeing 930 directional move and then change in how the market behaves at around 10 o'clock, 9:50, 10 o'clock. There's the move down. $70.90. Now does it buy up? Big buy up, $70.90. Amazing. Amazing. Pretty good run there. All right, what was the news? Trump highly unlikely I'll extend ceasefire with Iran. Just wait for a Trump headline. Just trade his tweets. Unreal. Pretty much hit the straddle low too. It got pretty close. 70.90. It's a key spot. Ceasefire expires Wednesday evening, Washington time. We will not open Strait of Hormuz until deal is signed. Now, the question is, can we head down below that 70.90 mark and kind of chop there? Ew. Pullback that we were anticipating. That was almost like one of those, once it gets to your level, hit it, and hopefully it plays out. Hopefully you get a Trump tweet in your direction. That's a tough one. Very tough one. Let's see if we can run towards that gamma peak. It's going to be a slow grind, but another 20 points or so downwards, if we can even get there. Oh. just moved towards the centroid. This is pretty good. I know the upside pivot, I mean, it would have been nice if it hit perfectly. I definitely should have went in on that.
Was the corporate night of Russell